What's up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Instant Reaction presented by Sony here on the Colts Audio Network and on the Colts YouTube page. I'm JJ Stankevitz, joined every week by Colts Ring of Honor wide receiver Bill Brooks to break down the Colts' latest game. Bill, on Sunday, the Colts lose 31-13 to the Denver Broncos in Week 15 at Empower Field at Mile High. First things first, Bill, the Colts' playoff chances are not zero. The Colts have not been eliminated from the postseason, but the path for the Colts to make it is awfully difficult at this point. So we're going to leave that discussion for later in the week. Let's talk about the game, Bill, and the stretch in the second half that I think we'll look back on. This is where the Colts not only lost this game, but very well could have lost their chance to make the playoffs. And it started with Jonathan Taylor dropping the ball before he crosses the goal line. A play that JT left no room for excuses, for explanations, for anything after the game, other than saying that can't happen. It will not happen again. It's something that's never happened to him. But in that moment, Bill, the Colts go from being up 20-7 to sticking with a 13-7 lead. And that right there, I think, was the first. The thing I thought about that, Bill, that was the first moment where that field, that stadium, got back into the game. Was on that replay and when the official overturned it. And while Denver didn't grab momentum immediately, you could sense that maybe there was some deflation on the Colts sideline after that.
Yeah, I think that's where it started at, JJ. I agree with you there in regards to that play because you think about that play, at the time, Colts went 13-7, and then all of a sudden, you get that play, you're up 20-7, of course, with the extra point, and that's huge for the team and it gives them momentum, gives them confidence and a good feel for how they've been playing the game and kind of put the Denver Broncos kind of back on their heels and make them do some things maybe they're not accustomed to doing and puts a little pressure on the rookie quarterback of Bo Nix to try to catch up. So that was a turning point in the game. You know what? Jonathan Taylor, unfortunately, it happened for JT, and I'm sure, he feels bad about it. And, I can pretty much sure people that it won't happen again. I'm sure he'll remember that. So it's unfortunate, but it did kind of change momentum, started, and then the Broncos fans got into the game, and you know what? And then the Broncos kind of picked up from that point momentum and took it forward and got some other big plays later on in the second half.
Yeah, Bill, it wasn't immediate that Denver got that momentum. I mean, they had I think they got one first down and then they punted on their ensuing possession. And then on Denver's next possession, that was when Nick Cross picked off Bo Nix, where he jumps in front of that
Yes.
pass. And then kind of the second play in here happens right after that. Anthony Richardson rolls out to his left. He finds Michael Pittman Jr. Looks like you're going to start a drive with a first down with a nice gain. PJ Locke, the Broncos safety, comes in. He dislodges the ball out of Pittman's hands. His helmet goes right into the ball, squirts out. DJ Jones recovers it for Denver. And the Broncos only muster a field goal out of that. But again, another moment where the Colts, okay, hey, you just had this really, really tough third quarter. You think you're going up big. Okay, hey, we got to play here. Let's get it going. Usually a first down on the first play of a drive can be kind of a spark sometimes. And in that case, it leads to a turnover. Pitt after the game said he's got to squeeze the ball harder. You can't let that happen. You give some credit to Locke. He made a really good play there, but in that instance, you can't have a fumble right there when Denver's trying to scratch and claw their way back. But that's what happened. Denver got 3 points out of it, and the game continued from there.
Yeah, as far as from an offensive standpoint, when a team opponent makes a play early on, you want to try to, of course, stop the momentum. And you know what? That was unfortunate for Pitt. Give Locke credit. He made a good play there, but as Pitt said, he has to hold on to the ball to, kind of make sure that they should secure the ball so they have it there so they won't turn the ball over. And you know what? When you start getting plays like that, their defense builds off of that. A couple of big plays for themselves, and unfortunately, the crowd gets behind those big plays for the home team, and it's unfortunate for Pitt, unfortunate for the Colts that they just couldn't get it back. They couldn't get that momentum back because from that point on, it just seemed like Denver made some more plays. They got the big punt return by Mims. That was a big play. I thought that was one of the turning points of the game where they start getting some momentum, and they went down there, and that gave them some momentum to continue on throughout the second half.
Yeah, Bill, we'll get into the defense here in a little bit, but you're absolutely right about that punt return. That's where I was going next because Denver was
Mhm.
not moving the ball. When Bo Nix
Right.
was trying to push the ball, he was putting it in harm's way. You never really got the sense that when Nix kind of wound up to launch a downfield throw that it was going to be successful for the Broncos. And oftentimes it was more successful for the Colts. So you kind of felt like, okay, if the Colts can just get in kind of a field position battle where it comes down to maybe a late kick or a late play by your quarterback, they actually feel like you might be in good shape here. But then that
Hmm.
60-yard punt return happens where, you could kind of feel probably the Colts not having Ashton Doolin out there. And then that sets up Denver going ahead with the 15-yard touchdown to Nate Adkins, where, you know, okay, so you give the defense a short field. That's a tough situation there. I, you know, I'll get into something that Desire Franklin said after the game, which I thought was really, really interesting. But like, I don't put a lot of, I don't give the defense a ton on that. That's a tough situation for them to be in. So then after that, you're losing for the first time in the game, and
Hmm.
then comes the kind of the knockout blow, if you will, where the Colts get some momentum. They get a completion to Kylan Granson. They move the ball into Broncos territory, and then you get I think 2nd and 7 on the Broncos 40-yard line. You're trying to hit an explosive to kind of unstick this whole offense again, and it's a play that Bill Shane Steichen, Adonai Mitchell, Anthony Richardson all said they repped quite a bit in practice this week. They thought they could get the look, and I think, Bill, that's because Vance Joseph's defense, they attack really well. They swarm to the ball, and you're trying to take advantage of that.
Yes.
So Anthony Richardson throws a double pass to Adonai Mitchell. Mitchell takes the pass, and he kind of, corrals the ball, turns, throws it, expecting there to be no one near Anthony Richardson. Instead, Nick Bonito is all over it. He picks it off. He runs 50 yards for a touchdown. Place goes nuts. You kind of feel like, okay, this is probably going to be too much for the Colts to overcome in that environment.
Yeah, the play that they repped a lot, as Shane said in his press conference there, and it looked like to me once AR throw it to Mitchell there, looked like Mitchell was trying to find the seams and get the ball, kind of turn the ball around so he can get a good throw back to AR there. And then of course AR has the opportunity to look downfield, throw the ball, or if nothing's there, uh, run with it or throw it away if there's nothing there. But give Bonito credit. I mean, I think that time it took AD to find that seams and get a good throw over there, it gave him time to get up there and get into the passing lane back to AR there, and he just made a nice play. And then once he caught it, it wasn't any catching him going down the field. So that really, really, really changed the game right there. And that you know what they definitely benefited from that, how they played it, and give the Denver Broncos credit on the defensive side of the ball there by making a play there. And it's a big play by them. And their defense has been playing well all year. They're a good defense, an attacking defense, as you said, and they do a good job. They put pressure on the quarterback. They do a good job against the run. So give them credit for what they did and how they play defense.
From that point on, Bill, the Colts offense, they have a turnover on downs. Anthony Richardson kind of throws a little wide to Josh Downs on a 4th and 6, and then Richardson's picked off by Patrick Surtain, and game's out of hand at that point. It's 31 to
Yeah,
13. So the mood in the locker room, Bill, was pretty dour, as you would expect. Just like
yeah,
a lot of veterans feeling like they were almost shocked. This is how the game went. Like Zaire Franklin said, you could have bet all the money in the world, and I would not have expected this is how we were going to play in this game. But the Colts shot themselves in the foot. They had a ton of penalties in this game, 8 penalties.
yeah.
That really hurt. All the turnovers, in addition to the kind of catastrophic ones, it was a game where the Colts needed to play winning football and they did not. And that's something that, I heard from multiple players in that locker room. Hey, we did not play winning football today in a game that really mattered in December, the kind of games you want to be playing. And that really stung for a lot of veterans who, were hoping that, hey, this is the year that we do get back to the playoffs. We haven't been to the playoffs since 2020 for a lot of the guys on this team, to get some of the younger guys experience of making a playoff run and playing a big game in January. Like that stuff does matter. And now the Colts have a 17% chance to make the playoffs according to the New York Times. It's not zero, but they need a lot of help, and it is absolutely not in their control down the stretch of this season.
Yeah, when you get into this situation as a player, you want to be in this situation right now in December where you're playing some games that really mean something and to help you reach some of the goals that you set for the during training camp coming into the season. So it's unfortunate right now that the Colts went out there, they didn't play good football last night, and a lot of times you hear a lot of times people say more games are lost than they're won. Last night, the Colts lost. They lost the game. The mistakes you made, you talked about the penalties that hurt them. I know a couple of offensive penalties they had put them, first and 15, first and 20. And very tough to start off that way to get a first down and continue to drive. So the turnovers also help. You turn the ball over that many times. It's very rarely do you win a football game, turn the ball over that many times. So the penalties and the turnovers that doomed the Colts. And like I said, more games are lost in the National Football League than won, and the Colts lost last night.
Yeah, and the thing that really stinks about it, Bill, is that you did get this really good effort out of the defense. I mean, they allowed
Yeah.
3.2 yards per play, under 200 yards of total offense. Denver only had one drive. I actually didn't check it until that last one. Yeah, they only had one drive gain more than 40 yards in this entire
Mm.
game. I mean,
Wow.
they were given some short fields that they turned into touchdowns, but Denver possessed the ball. I mean, they had a ton of possessions here. One, two, three, four, five. That's the end of the half. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 possessions. And only
Yeah.
one of them gained more than 40 yards, and that was a 54-yard scoring drive that Denver turned some other advantageous field position into a touchdown in the first half. So this defense was tuned up. They were playing awesome football. I thought coverage was really good.
Yes.
They limited explosives. The run defense was good, and the guys in the back end made plays. I mean, Zaire Franklin
Yes.
pick. Sam Womack had an awesome game. He had the pick. He had another PBU in
Yes.
there, and then Nick
Jalen
Cross
Jones.
pick.
Yep.
This was as good of a game, Bill, as I think the Colts defense played all year. And you could look at the final score and be like, oh, they gave up 31 points. Well, they gave up seven on a defensive touchdown, and then another seven on a short field. And then when uh, when Denver was given the their field goal, that was a four and out, their three and out
Hmm.
that they turned into a field
Hmm.
goal. So really, Denver, in my mind, they only had one drive where they actually put anything together in this game to score points, and the
Yeah.
Colts still lost by 18. That is a really tough pill to swallow for this team.
It is a tough pill to swallow. And you have some players played very well last night. They did a nice job. I mean, I agree with you. I think like Samuel Womack, he played well and made some nice plays. Yes, he gave up the touchdown to stutter and go, but other than that, you know what? I thought he played well. Jalen Jones did some nice things out there. I thought he played well. Zaire, of course, um, come up with the interception, speed, leading the team in tackles. So you have some guys on defense doing the job, making some plays. Nick Cross with an interception. So give them credit. They played well, I thought. I thought they did what they need to do to help the Colts help the Colts win that football game. And unfortunately, the punt return, I think, was something that hurt the Colts. Of course, the fumble by JT there, the ball going out of the end zone, those things hurt. And when you have those mistakes, and you know, all mistakes are crucial to me, but at times there are certain mistakes that are made that to me impact the game a little bit more. And the Colts made those mistakes, unfortunately, to impact the game in a negative way for them.
All right, Bill, before we continue here, let's take one quick break for a word from our friends at Sony. Bill, you know I travel a lot during the season, and I could not live without the Sony 1000 XM5 noise canceling headphones. Whether I'm listening to music on the plane or just trying to listen back to interviews I do in the locker room, the premium noise cancellation these headphones provide keeps me in the zone whether I'm relaxing or working. And when I'm at home, these are great for just hearing you, Bill, and keeping me locked into our podcast or for just hanging around the house. Take it from me, these are my favorite headphones I've ever owned. The Sony 1000 XM5 headphones are the official headphones of the Indianapolis Colts. All right, Bill, one thing that I wanted to talk about was after the game, Zaire Franklin kind of made a point of saying, hey, I've heard it a little bit too much of like, oh, the offense played great and the defense, struggled in this game and lost in this game, and then the defense played great in this game and the offense lost in this game. He's like, we're a team. We win as a team, we lose as a team. This isn't a we did this, they did that type thing. And I thought that was a really good message from a leader in this locker room where it's been reversed. I mean, the Colts straight up lost that game to the Jaguars in week 5 because their defense
Hmm.
gave up 37 points and couldn't make a stop when they needed to. But they lost this game because the offense committed a ton of turnovers and there were a ton of penalties. But neither of those, the Colts are not looking at either of those games as like, this is your fault, this is your fault. It's a team game, and I think sometimes, Bill, we in the media kind of lose sight of that, of like the defense is this siloed off thing and the offense is this siloed off thing. I know your special teams over here, and if they impact the game, that's usually a great thing or a really bad thing. And it's all a team and it's all together. And I think the entire team, even though the defense played well yesterday, they were not willing to say like, yeah, we made strides, it's great, back pats for us. It was, no, we lost this game. And I think that was a really important message, I think, for a lot of guys in the locker room to hear after this game, Bill.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you have kind of three segments of a team. You have the offense, defense, and special teams, but they're all one. They're together no matter what. So you want to play good complementary football where each unit is doing their part and help carrying the team to victory. But there are times when, you know what, there might be a unit that doesn't play as well or whatever, but it doesn't mean that you kind of separate them off. You're still one. And you know what, that's I think that's going to what you said before, okay, the offense throws an interception, defense is back on the field, not in great position to stop the offense, but it doesn't matter if the offense throws an interception and the opponent team gets the ball at, the Colts 30-yard line. It doesn't matter. The defense wants to go out there and stop them. They need to stop them no matter what. And that's what Zaire means by that. That you play together as a team and you help one another as a team. And that's a good sign as far as the locker room is concerned, that, you won't start having this fractured locker room. One group is saying, it's their fault, and the other group saying it's their fault, and pointing all these fingers. You don't want that in the locker room. You want guys to come together and, to rally around one another. That just like the team rallied around JT after that play, to come around JT and say, hey, look, don't worry about it. Just go out there and do what you know you can do out there. And we trust you and we believe in you. So that's what you want. You want guys to rally around one another and be a team and be one unit out there in the football field.
Yeah, Bill, the Colts have 3 games left, and I want to finish here with your perspective on this, where you have a chance to finish over 500. You have a chance to be 9-8. I think a lot of folks might be thinking, wow, what do they really have left to play for? It's a slim chance of making the playoffs. You kind of have this really, really deflating loss in week 15. But there still are, guys in there who've been in the league long enough to realize that, these opportunities are not guaranteed. What do you think the message to that locker room needs to be from the leaders like Zaire Franklin and, DeForest Buckner, Michael Pittman Jr., Quentin Nelson, about what's ahead for these last 3 games this season?
Well, those guys need to just talk to the team, or if not talk to the team, show the team definitely when they get out in practice that, hey, we're still one unit. We're going to play hard. We owe it to ourselves and we owe it to each other and the organization as well to go out there and play our best, just as we played in week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it may be. The same effort we put out there and on the football field in the games, the same effort we need to play like in these last 3 games. And the same effort we put into practice those weeks, same thing we need to put into practice this week and the next week and the last week of the season, unless they can play. Hopefully, they, like you say, have a slim chance of possibly making the playoffs. But even if they don't make the playoffs, you still want to go out there and be a professional. You sign up for 17 regular season games. You go out there and play those games. If you're physically able to play those games, you go out there and you play those games, you play hard, You play for yourself, and you play for one another, and you play for the organization. And when I say play for yourself, it's not playing for yourself as far as selfishly. It's playing for yourself because you have pride. You want to go out there and you want to compete. You want to do the best you can out there in the football field. So those guys, I think it's a good message. It would be a good message for those guys to tell the younger guys and tell the other guys on the team that, hey, look, this is how we do things. This is standard how we do things out in the practice field, in the meeting room, in the weight room, and on the football field, and how we go out there on game day and represent ourselves, our team, and our organization. I think they will do that these last 3 games.
It's a good message, and one that we'll see if the Colts can kind of stick to over these final 3 games, and then see where things land after Week 18. All right, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Instant Reaction presented by Sony. Remember, this NFL season, feel every play, every hit, every moment with the Sony 1000 XM5 noise-canceling headphones, the official headphones of the Indianapolis Colts. With premium noise cancellation, you're in the zone. No distractions, just pure football. Whether you're in your living room or on the go, you'll never miss a beat with Sony headphones. All right, well, thank you to Bill Brooks and to everyone for listening to this episode of Instant Reaction presented by Sony. Bill and I will be back after the Colts play the Tennessee Titans on Sunday, the whiteout game at Lucas Oil Stadium. We'll have a normal podcast time for that. That'll be up late Sunday night on December 22nd. For Bill Brooks, I'm JJ Stankevitz. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Instant Reaction presented by Sony. Talk to you next week. So long.